What's up, boys? Welcome back to the 404 Fear Not Found podcast. It's your host, Chase Lucci, here with my brother Elijah Wiley. How we doing, man?
What's good? What's good? I'm doing great, man. Life is going well. What about you, boss?
Everything's amazing. Everything is blessed, man. I got my lucky shirt on today, my new creation. This was actually the shirt that I was baptized in. So just feeling blessed and feeling no stress. That's kind of
Love
how
to
I'm feeling.
hear it. Love to hear it.
Yeah,
A non-stressful day is always a great day in my book.
for sure, 100%. You can't discredit, the little things in life and always expect to have a home run every single day. If it's a day where you're fed, you can not stress too much about bills needing paid. You can wake up, go to the gym, go to work. It's a good day. It is. So at the end of the
Thanks.
day, that's what it is, man. We're back and at it. We've been having some extreme technical difficulties recently on Elijah's end. So he he
Blame
s-
the
he
black
thinks
guy.
it's me. Oh, he thinks it's me, but it's really him. It really is. Like, he is that guy. He is the guy with the problem. So, yeah, man, we had an episode recorded a couple days ago for you guys that we really dove into some great topics, had some great discussions, and upon editing that episode, Elijah's video cut out about halfway through, and his audio was still there. It was just a black screen. So, if that's my fault, then I guess that's my fault. But to me, well, we have to work on some things. So, Elijah, how's your week been so far, brother? How was your Halloween?
It was good. Unfortunately, I had to work all Halloween, but my boys came down, kicked it with me Saturday. We watched Ohio State beat the heck out of Penn State. I got to see some of the other boys from school, so it's been a great week so far. Hanging out with a buddy this weekend, and living. What about you, boss?
Oh, it was great, bro. We went to a festival down on the pier. Um, Disclosure. A lot of people probably, might be like me and be like, who's Disclosure? Probably just a small.
Hmm.
Well, you probably heard a few of their songs before. That's kind of how I felt once I realized who it was. I was like, okay. So it was a huge event actually. It was a big turnout, huge crowd. Everybody was dressed up, of course. We went down there, got a great spot in the crowd, right up front row, and we were just vibing all night, having a good old time.
What were you for Halloween?
I was a pharaoh. I was a little King Tut, if you will.
I gotta see the pictures.
Yeah, and I had
I
a
know you took some fire pictures. I gotta see them.
yeah, I got a disposable camera actually for the weekend, and
Hmm.
ran through that within like the first couple hours. We took a bunch of pictures.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, found a little Cleopatra. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The
How did
king
the
needed a
shoes hold
queen.
up?
The shoes,
Yeah,
the chanclas, the Jesus
yeah,
fives. Yeah,
yeah.
not too bad. I'm not gonna lie. It was in an area where there was not much grass. It was straight sand. So my feet
Hmm.
were kicking up sand. I was walking on sand. They were all up in my shoes. It was fun. They didn't
So
break
you ended
though.
up wearing the sandals?
Yeah, no socks.
Dogs
Open
out.
toes. Dogs was out. It was good though. It was good though. They lasted. I'm not gonna lie. The only problem I really had was my feet were killing the next day because I was really walking on, half the walk was concrete, sidewalks.
Yeah,
I was really walking barefoot like for hours, pretty much. And
facts.
yeah, my legs were sore the next day. My feet, but
Oh,
we recovered.
100%.
You recover quick over here, you know what I mean? You can't stay down too long, can't hold a good man down type
Facts.
shit. It was good though. It was a really good time. Everything that we wanted it to be. Stayed away from the bars. The bar scene was packed, action packed. I'm talking about thousands of people trying to go to these
Yeah,
bars. It wasn't worth that. Came back to the
I'm
house.
so over packed bars, dude. I'm so over it.
Not the move. Not the move at all. And if you're
Like
still doing that,
75% is good enough.
if you're still in there and you're still part of that crowd, that's fine. But
Unless I'm clubbing. If I'm going to like an actual club or like a EDM, anything like that, then it's cool. But like just a regular bar and I'm like this, no bueno.
right, right. Yeah, so just kind of touching on what we discussed upon last time, we got, of course we had our technical difficulties. Elijah got some new equipment to help us out, so we didn't have to deal with the same issues, but for some reason we're still dealing with the same fucking issues. So
Hey, at
yeah,
least we're able to get the video to load.
yeah, yeah, as long as the video just doesn't cut completely out, that kind of sucks.
Mhm.
Um but yeah, speaking of Halloween, What's your favorite costume that you've ever worn?
Honestly, back in the day, we had this costume competition at my church, and I wore a full on cow skin cowboy outfit. And I think that's by far the hardest outfit that I've ever wore in my life for Halloween. And I wish I could find the video. I mean, picture. I have the picture somewhere, but I want to recreate that outfit so bad.
So you're telling me your best outfit was when you was a kid?
Yep. I didn't really celebrate Halloween like that, and, like, I didn't really dress up for real, like, I just wore dumb stuff. Like, I was a pimp in college, like, it was kinda cool, but, like, most memorable costume I ever had has to be that cowboy outfit. I had the spurs on the back of my cowboy boots.
Type shit. Type shit.
Type shit.
Nice, nice.
You.
Probably the one I just wore. It was
Yeah,
pretty
I
dope.
knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, yeah. I dropped a little flick, a little, edit here, somewhere right here. You know what I mean? It was dope. It was dope. It was yeah, it was a strong costume. Let's just say I felt like it fit the vibe that I was going for to a T.
Mhm.
And I got a lot of compliments on it. I've never probably been so complimented on an outfit before. Like people,
For
were
real.
like yeah, someone said I someone at the festival made the funniest comment. He looked over at me. He's like, "Dude," he's like, "You look exactly like the picture of the dude out of the history book." And I knew exactly what he was talking about. It was this. It was like it's the meme where it's like this how history books be. And it was a super white guy with like a pharaoh hat on, and it was in a history book. And it was like this how history be. And you know my white
Like,
ass
twin,
face.
that is not what they look like.
Yeah, 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 exactly. So like I was able to give some people some chuckles, some laughs, it was funny, it was funny, it was good. But other than that, definitely was a good time for Halloween. It's already November, already getting to, the end of the year. We were just last episode talking about how it's beginning of October. It's already the beginning of November. I mean, it's just happening quicker
Yeah,
and quicker. We're just happy to still be here, alive and thriving for another day. Coming back at you guys with another good episode full of content, full of experiences, full of good talks, full of it all. It's a community over here. You know how we do. So,
exactly.
segment number one that I'd like to talk about with you is kind of just about how there is too much noise going on and not enough clarity in this life. And would you agree with that statement?
Course, like, it's always just a lot of people talking and mumbling about certain things that they don't know exactly to the T, and just having that clarity in your own thoughts and values in life, I think takes you a lot further when you enter the world, because everybody's full of thoughts, and now that we have a platform to where we can just put our opinions out and have of people be able to view it, maybe he does have a point when it's not that valid or not that credible. I mean, who are we to judge? But I feel like we still have to know who we are as our own, and then take everything else with a grain of salt from what we hear outside in the world.
Sure, for sure. Yeah, I think it starts at home. It starts as soon as you wake up in the morning with, your phone blowing up with notifications. You got social medias, you got text messages, calls, you got so many things that are coming in before you even get a chance to get your brain going in the morning. And then
Yeah,
a lot of us before we even take a sip of water, before we even brush our teeth, I'm guilty as well. Sometimes you just open up your phone right when you open your eyes, and then all of a sudden, you're sitting there for 10, 15 minutes, and that's the first thing you're consuming in the morning is all the noise. You're not even able to gain any clarity because your mind's being distracted by all these other entities that are coming your way. Um,
exactly.
so you just got to be able to distinguish, what is important to you and what's not. And it's very important because a lot of people are able to or not able to distinguish the difference. I feel like a lot of people are
Mhm.
worried about trends, worried about, things that are going on in society that might not have anything to do with them. And while it's important to be aware of things, you don't want to overindulge. You want to make sure that your headspace is clear and you're able to accomplish the things that you want to set out for the day every single day. You wanna make sure that you're
Yeah.
getting your own things done before you're worried about, he said, she said, and things that are popping up on your timeline. So I think it's just something that's really important is being able to have that filter in your brain of being able to, okay, this is important to me and this is not. And so where am
Mhm.
I giving my time and energy to? But, it's part of the ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster. Some days you might wake up and you have instant peace and gratification. Some days you might not have
Yeah.
any notifications. Some days when you really are trying to get some things done, it seems like that's when all the distraction can start flowing your way.
Yeah.
every day is not going to be a perfect day. That's for sure. It's an everyday battle. You wake up, you got to put in the work to get out what you want. So yeah, it's just about the focus. It's about where you allocating your energy and your resources to.
Exactly. And you don't want to focus your energy in negative spaces. You know, you don't want to put all your focus on things that's not feeding you positive outcomes. You're going out, 3 times a week, but then you talking about why you can't pay your bills, and it's like, well, one gotta go. You know what I mean? So sometimes we need to focus our energy on the most positive things and not always the negative things when it comes to life and relationships. It's sometimes we seek out the negative first instead of the positive, and we need to just switch that back around to seeking out the positive always, and only detailing the negative and making it something of improvement, not of a judging factor.
100%. 100%. I totally agree. And that's kind of ties into the next segment a little bit also, just maintaining your values while you're able to grow. Because at the end of the day, we all know we want to grow into better people. We want to keep elevating ourselves. We don't want to stay the same because essentially you're going to be getting worse. But how important is it to maintain the strong values while you're still going through that path of growth?
Yeah. 'Cause, as we grow and network, you're gonna run into people that definitely think, and definitely have different values, and depending on that person, they might persuade you to think other, or they might ridicule you for thinking how you think, but, like, you can't let that get to you. You gotta stay true to yourself and realize that, hey, they're just people as well, figuring it out. There is only one truth, but we live in America, so you're able to believe whatever you wanna believe, and like I said, it's just being about showing your true colors and being who you are deep down inside, no matter what space you're in. And also being understanding of people that think different and have different values of yours.
Yeah. Do you want to kind of touch on that story that you mentioned in the previous canceled episode about that story when you came into the room with that person that didn't believe in God and you kind of got into that dilemma with them where you opened up a conversation and they kind of tried to blame all their troubles and all the bad things that ever happened on God and prove that if he was real, then that wouldn't have happened to them. And then kind of what you had to say about it?
Yeah, so pretty much, I get into a circle, I'm out at the bar with some colleagues and whatnot. And one of my colleagues, asked me what my faith was. I was like Christianity. And they then proceeded to, be like, well, God's not real, and try to blame God for everything that's going on, and why is he judging and all this stuff. And I was she was blaming, like, the thing that was going on in the world on him. And I was like, well, in life, we all have free will, and we all, have say in what the things that we do in this world. And at the end of the day, you cannot blame your misfortunes on the misfortunes of the world on him, because these are all human things that we done. And I told him that, like, I'm not perfect, but you have to work on that relationship with him, and that he still loves you, and one day that relationship will be built again if you so desire. You just have to leave it at that.
Amen. Yeah, like you said, I mean, they talk about God judging, but it's like God is the only one that can judge in the whole grand scheme of
Yeah,
things. People these days try to judge everything and everybody, and at the end of the day, that's not our place as humans on this world and on this,
yeah,
journey. This journey is about bettering yourself and allowing to be someone that can make the world a better place around you as well. It's not about sitting there ridiculing people for why they did this or why they did that, or saying, "Oh, why did this happen to me?" If there is a greater God. But at the end of the day, people don't realize that that's the whole point of free will, and that's what
yeah,
we have this free will that's been given to us to make our own decisions, to have our own free conscience, and it's a beautiful thing if you use it correctly, but it can be your downfall if you let it turn bitter and have envy and jealousy and anger in your heart. I mean, that stuff just takes you down a bad road that you do not wanna be a part of,
yeah. Because you're
you
always
know?
thinking that your life is not perfect. You're always striving to have more when everything that you have is where you need to be. Like, yes, we want to live this materialistic lifestyle, yeah, to where we, like, can be able to go on all these vacations or whatever, but that's not the real point of living life. Is to be loved, to know that you're around people that really, wants the best for you, and you have a support system, and you have a great relationship with a significant other or a solid best friend, that's always gonna hold you down and be your number uno. Like when you have all of those things, all the finances and materialistic stuff that comes through you through those journeys and relationships that you build. And that's just by being a positive person and being a light to a dark room.
Absolutely, and that's a good point because like I just said, a lot of people have anger, jealousy, and envy in their heart, and not a lot of people anymore show integrity, loyalty, and patience. And it's the
Yeah,
same thing that goes into the next segment of modern relationships and how they are. You have to really watch who you give your time and energy to in real life because a lot of people aren't going to value you and your time. A lot of people aren't going to be
yeah,
loyal to you or what you have going on, and at the end of the day, what they do in front of you might not even always be what they're doing behind your back or thinking behind their back. So,
exactly.
talk about that a little bit, in the modern dating scheme about how careful you really have to be and how you really should be a picky person at the end of the day when it comes down to it.
Yeah, and I feel like everybody has a motive. Nowadays it's not like let's build this thing together. It's like I want what you already have, and let me take that and run with it. And that's why, in the previous episodes we talked about dating within your budget. And I think that is a thing that we still need to harp on to this day. Like if you know you can't hold down a girl that's used to going to roof Chris, maybe you shouldn't talk to a girl that's used to on the roof, Chris. Keep it on the Chili's level. Or find a girl that don't think like that and she's humble. But we can't keep judging each other for the misfortunes. You know what you're getting when you're dealing with a drug dealer. You know what you're getting when you're dealing with a ball player. You know what you're getting when you're dealing with a guy that watches anime and don't have social skills. You know what you're getting when you're dealing with a guy that you seen he's on his third relationship in the last 3 months. You know what you're getting when you encounter all these different scenarios, but you're still willing to give time into these different energies rather than sitting down, understanding yourself, and find somebody that really cherishes who you are as a person and an individual where you don't need to switch up and you could just be yourself. Like a lot of people are now clones of each other, thinking that they have to be this certain stereotypical type of person when if you was just yourself, it would go a better way for you in finding your person.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people act so surprised these days. A lot of people, instead of being more aware and conscious of what they're getting into and weighing out the pros and cons of situations, they just jump right into something. And then they act surprised when it's not what they thought it was, but they didn't really do their due diligence in seeking out what exactly it is that they're going after or what exactly it
Yeah.
is that they actually want for themselves. A lot of people are so oblivious to what they truly want out of life. A lot of people,
Mhm.
believe it or not, are just flying by every single day, just going off a whim. Today I do this, tomorrow I do that. They go off their feelings, and feelings are feelings for a reason. You feel them and then they pass. But your feelings do not determine exactly who you actually are or what you're supposed to be deep down going through. Because you could feel mad, you could feel sad, you could feel angry, you could feel happy. Those all pass. They pass. So if
Yeah.
you're going to go based off how you feel, your life's gonna be extra rocky than it already even would be. Life's up and downs regardless, but when you go based off of how you feel when you do your actions based on logically, and rationally, that's where a lot of people get set up for disappointment. They set up expectations,
Yeah.
but there's already limitations that are being put on it because they didn't do enough due diligence. So,
And give your time to heal. Give your time to heal too, especially if you're just getting out of a long relationship. Give your time to heal. Like I know people that goes on a fuck fest. Like after getting out of a relationship, they just hit everything that walks, and that's not helping you. That just desensitizes you from like what a being in a relationship is. And I'm like, hey, I'm not knocking being single and going out and having fun, but like understand, like, don't just be hitting anything, like, at least have, like, a lunch or something, and get to know her for who she is, because anytime you lay with anybody in bed, you do share a little bit of yourself, a little bit of your energy is shared with her, and whether it's good or bad energy, you just wanna make sure that, those energies that y'all do share together, is strong and, pure and genuine, not just some, weird toxic shit.
yeah. Yeah, and that's why lust is such a crazy thing. A lot of people act based on lust. That's a feeling. That's them feeling attracted or sexually stimulated or something like that, and they act based on that, and that's a feeling. And that's not
Yeah,
always the option, like you said, sharing your energy with someone that might not even be compatible to carry that energy, or on, the contrary, they push their energy onto you, and you might be a high energy person thinking nothing of it, but guess what? Some of their demons jump over from them to you, in that bedroom, and all of a sudden, things get a little bit extra rocky.
yeah,
Like you said, it's true sharing energy and frequencies, they're totally real. Everything around us is energy. There's an invisible field of, energy and frequencies just rolling through the air every time you speak, every time you move,
yeah.
every time you act. And so you have to understand that not everything is as simple as, oh, I want this, so I'm going to do this. You should go after what you want in life, but only once you
Mhm.
realize that it's really what you truly deeply desire.
Facts.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm at the point to where like I'd rather just sit down and spend time and meditate really on what I want to do than to jump and throw all my eggs in all different types of baskets and only hit like for 10%. Like when I can really focus and mow down to really what I want to do and put my focus on that one thing and give it all 100%. I'd rather much do that than to be like, "Oh, I wanna do this, I wanna do that," and it's like a different thing every 3 months. And it's like, it's okay to be delayed, but, like, I was listening to this one video today and it kinda stuck with me 'cause it's I've been saying things that I haven't been doing yet, and then it's like he was like, "You gotta stop saying things you're gonna do, and then it's 6 months down the line and you haven't even touched it." And I was like, "Yeah." Like, I wanna stop doing that to where, like, yeah, if I say Imma do it, like, I wanna know that, yeah, this is gonna get accomplished, which it is. I do that, but it's like it has been a couple things that I wanted to accomplish this year that I did put on to the side that I could have accomplished if I just stayed steadfast and just
Honestly, progress over perfection. You have to
Mhm.
start. Sounds so cliche and so corny, but those dreams that you have where you're like, one day I'm gonna do this, one day I'm gonna do that. One day has to turn into day one of doing it. You have to start at
Yeah.
something, even if you suck at it, even if you're terrible, even if it just feels like, dang, why the hell did I think I could do this? Or why did I think I should do this? But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, you set out a goal for yourself. Nobody said it was gonna be easy, and nobody said it was gonna be just a cakewalk. It's if you want to be something in life and you want to be something great, you're going to have to go through challenging feats and you're going to have to push through them and you're going to have to just persevere no matter what and get things done because the way you feel on the other end of that once you get that progress and once you start to see the fruits of your own labor, it's one of the most amazing feelings ever. And we both know that because we
Facts.
accomplish things when we say we're going to accomplish them. Like you said, we have to
Facts.
be accountable on other times. Sometimes we make out goals and you look back and month 2 goes by and it's like, you're looking around like, dang, I didn't really do much with that. And if you really think about it, if you would have just got 1% better all those days leading up to that second time you thought about it, that way you would look at it a month or 2 later would be so much different because you would have
Yep.
already indulged in it. You would have already taken action and stepped foot into it head first. And that's what it's
Mhm.
about. You're gonna be bad at things when you try something. If you want to get good at basketball, but you're not right now, of course, when you go in the gym and you start putting up shots, you're gonna suck. But if you go up in there and put up shots every day, even when some days are bad and you don't feel like it and you're feeling discouraged because the day before it didn't go good. Well, guess what? You do that for 40 days, 50 days in a row. By day 50, you're gonna start seeing some shots go in and you're gonna be like, all right,
Exactly.
we got something cooking here. And that's all it's about. That's what we're doing still here. We're still on the progress side of things with this podcast. This is something that,
Mhm.
we haven't even had 10 full episodes released yet within this year. And at the end of the day, it's not about being perfect. It's not about having the perfect words to say or having the perfect
Yeah.
visual in the studio set up the perfect way. It's just about doing it. And it's about the
Yeah.
progress. How
And it's
much
about
better
seeing and growing with us,
you gotta grow. You gotta
growing
grow.
on our journey, showing
Yeah.
you it in 4K.
4K baby. Even if Elijah looks a little blurry.
Right, right.
But speaking of growing and evolving, one thing that's growing fast that we definitely touched on the deleted episode was the tech and specifically AI. I mean, it's everywhere now. It is totally
Yeah.
everywhere. I still remember when it first came out. ChatGPT my junior year of college, and I remember it was in the beta, and you get in there and it's like, oh, what can this do? What can this help me in college with? At that time we're just trying to get our stuff done, so it's like,
Yeah.
write this essay, and then it was writing it like a robot. It wasn't really, the teachers weren't buying it. Then it was like, you didn't write this. But then again, here we are 2-3 years later already, and now iPhones, brand new iPhones have Apple Intelligence included in them now,
Yeah.
built into the phone. ChatGPT is way past the beta stage. They're on like the 5th version
Yeah.
now, and it's almost human like, and it's getting scary of how you
Yeah.
can't, that same question that you would ask it to write an essay for you 3 years ago, it can most definitely write you a human like essay
Mhm.
now. You could even give it the specific details and make some errors in it, make sure it looks like I
Yeah.
wrote it, things like that, and it gets personalized and it gets deep. And it can
Yeah,
be
because it
a
knows
good
who you
tool.
are as a person.
Yeah, it picks up. It's like an algorithm. It starts to recognize patterns and trends, and it's all
Mhm.
numbers. It's like, okay, he's asked me this 5 times. That means that's what he's looking for. So next time he asks, it's not going to be a problem. But you could use it as a tool, but you could create income from it. You can use it from your
Yeah.
laptop, from your phone. Something that you brought up before we hopped on this episode was the AI robots that are coming out soon.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane. It's insane. It will clean your house, do your chores for you. It gets into your algorithm. It learns your daily schedule. I mean, you talk about the future is coming. I think it's here. I think it's here. We might not be all metal looking. We might not have flying cars, but who's to say they're not around?
Yeah,
The rich people do have access to a lot of things that we do not see.
that's a fact. Yeah,
And
I
I'm
mean,
not just talking about your celebrities and basketball players.
no, no,
I'm
no.
talking about your top of the top hedge fund owners.
Yes, sir. And that's scary. That's a scary thing.
Yeah.
I just was talking to this guy that had me come look at his home renovation project, and we started talking, and I realized very quickly that this man was pretty much a genius. I mean, at the 30-minute mark of talking to him, I was like, okay, I'm dealing with someone who
Mhm.
really knows their shit. He was about 70 years old. He's been around forever. He's seen the changes of no technology to all of a sudden, he has a supercomputer in his house that he has built over 38 AI agents that can essentially, from what he told me, take almost anybody's job right now today. And that's the scary part about it, that we, on the contrary of all the good things it can do and how it can help you, um, it's a very unsure time for a lot of people's careers. Those people that are going to
Mhm.
school for a lot of white collar jobs that used to take time and dedication to do, correctly.
Hey, yeah, I can do that shit in 5 minutes.
All we got to
Probably
do is make
less.
bills paid. We don't gotta worry about you calling in sick. We don't gotta worry about family
Yeah.
vacations. We don't have to worry about that. We can have an automated system that's doing it clockwork, you know? And that's what's scary, and that's what he told me, is that as a 70-year-old man that's seen a lot, he said within 5 years, a lot of people's jobs are gonna be gone, and then he said within 10 years, pretty much everybody's job is gonna be gone. And that's a sad thing to
I don't think aviation is gonna go AI. I think that the human factor will always be top notch for pilots.
that's what you think. That's what you think now until there's no pilots, buddy. There's not gonna be
I'm telling
pilots.
you. I'm
You
telling
think
you.
you think they're not gonna have AI programmed pilots that are just built into the jet? Hey, the
I
pilot
mean,
calling
yeah, but they still you will still have a wheel.
maybe for 5 to 10 more years. In 15, I doubt it.
Nah.
Brother,
We could bet right now. 15 years from now, we can bet there will still be human pilots.
okay. I'm willing to take this bet. Whatever you wanna
Okay.
put on it right now, we'll shake on it over the cam.
Hey, guys, hop in a comment. Let us know. Do you still believe there will be human pilots 15 years from now? Let us know what you think.
In 15 years, you're insane. Do you realize, like, 15 years ago, we didn't have iPhones, or maybe they first came out? That is a substantial amount of innovation in such a short period of time.
Yeah,
Now,
but there
they
still
have
want human error. There will still want human error. You got to remember, aviation is a billion-dollar company. You got to put the blame on somebody. You can't put the blame on AI, because then that's just gonna start a whole different thing.
yeah, well, you could say the same about the freight.
With lawsuits, it's just easier with human error, and
You
they
said
still want the human in charge. You have nobody to answer to if there's a technical difficulty and AI shuts down or whatever due to whatever electric issues. Then shit, somebody has to be able to still control the aircraft manually.
You're talking about lawsuits and shit. The lawyers are gonna be AI. The judge is gonna be AI. There's no you're not gonna be a jury. There's not gonna be any person to talk to about this dilemma. It's gonna be
I don't
automated.
want that. I don't want that. No.
Well, neither
No.
does anybody, but guess what? That's the harsh
No.
reality we're coming.
No.
Even okay,
No.
perfect example.
I don't think people are gonna buy that far into it.
It doesn't matter what we want, just like anything else. We have no control over the grand scheme of what's going on. Why would they want
I'm not going to no judge that's not real.
then the AI RoboCop's gonna come flying down out of the sky to your crib and start blowing that shit the fuck up. Hey, oh, you don't want to go to jail? Let's send a drone to kill you. How about that, bro? Because here's the thing: we're talking about white collar jobs being replaced, and that's a fact. A lot of white collar jobs, like people that are in charge of finances and things like that. Like, I'm sorry, Hunter, if you're listening, being a freaking accountant or a financial manager or anything like that, that is no longer gonna be, and I wish Hunter was here to debate this right now, but things like that, it's gonna be quick. It's gonna be quick to where, yes, you might have a job for 5 or 10 more years, but okay, I'm sorry. We are in our 20s. If you say by the time we're 40 that everybody around us that's doing these types of things is gonna still be in those positions, they're not. They're not.
So
Like a
what are we
graphic
gonna be
designer.
doing though? What are we gonna be doing though?
And that's hold on, no, this is where it gets tricky, and this is where I talked to this man about this yesterday. He told me that the trades, of course, are the most safest thing right now. Construction,
Yeah.
whether
So
that's
you're talking about welding. Yeah.
yeah, but guess what? That's why it's the 5 to 10 period. At 10, they're gonna have machines that can build a whole house and not have to have a project manager, not to have laborers, not gonna have to have anything. It's gonna be down to a T. Look at what they already can do. It's just scary because you could believe it or you could not believe it, but we're seeing it right in front of our eyes. Like I said, AI came out a couple years ago to the mass public, and look at what it's already doing. You got people building agents. This guy has 38 agents that he said he can train to do any job right now. Any. And
That's actually crazy.
it's crazy. It's crazy. And so you got the trades that'll be safe for a little bit, but here's where it gets extra tricky. Okay, if all these jobs 100% do get erased, there is no way that our society is still going to be built on a cash-based system. Like US dollar, how is that going to work? Because nobody's going to be able to make US dollars. Nobody's going to be able to
Yeah.
make their money. So we're going to have to go to like a cashless society almost, if that makes sense. Maybe that means, the government gets to a point where they allocate a certain amount of funds to each and every individual and says, this is what you have to live on. Or maybe money itself just becomes a whole different variation where it's all crypto based and it's all stays online and it's all no
Yeah, but how
trace.
do you deal with the tiers of life? So rich, middle class, poor class. Like, does that wipe away the classes? What about the money you already have? Or like you just bored? And everybody,
Yeah.
we switched from being workers, wanting to be workers, to being everybody wants to be a creator. Back in the day, we were taught to be workers. Now we're taught to be creators. Why work for somebody when you can create? You're an entrepreneur. You have to be your own business, so you got to create. Like, yeah. So when this comes down to actually being able to work, because AI has taken all the white collar jobs, as you say, we're cooked. Because the
We're
society
sorry.
don't know how to work anymore. We're creators. We work on our own time because we're creators.
Yeah, but is there
But
really a
we don't
problem with
work.
that? I don't
It's
see that.
not a it's not a problem. It's just that when it comes down to ain't shit to create no more, whether it's like being an influencer or not, that's phased out. What are your trades? What are your traits? What do you
Think about it like this. I heard that a lot of the actors in Hollywood are on a standoff right now with the producers and with the directors of the movies because they are, in a sense, kind of terrified for their jobs right now. Think about it. Why would you cast an actor for a movie in 5 to 10 years when you could create the perfect character for the movie that looks just like a real person and says anything you want it to say?
yeah,
And then you don't have to pay these people millions and millions of dollars to put on a performance in one movie. Think about it.
yeah,
Movies are cooked, TV's cooked. They're gonna be able to make AI rappers and singers and artists that make perfect songs that, a human might not even think of for another 10, 20 years. And it's just like the creativity is almost infinite for them because they have
yeah.
access to everything that we've ever known.
Mhm.
And so a lot of it's just instant. It's like humans can't keep up with instant things. And I think that's why we're so amazed by, or not even amazed, but just consumed by the instantaneous things that go on in our day-to-day lives now and how everything's instant gratification. quick dopamine hits. We've talked about this before. All these little things you do, scrolling, getting attention on a video, or seeing a video you really like, or just little things that are brief and go through in our one ear and right out the other. And it's like you didn't really have to
Mhm.
process anything because they put it right in front of you so quickly and so visually. And then now it's on to the next. And it's like our brains are so trained for what's next. And like, let's keep evolving. Let's keep going and seeing,
Yeah.
where we can go next. And at the end of the day, like you said, as a creator, how can you match something that can create anything instantly without any thought process
Mhm.
or any research or any hard work put behind it? It adds up for the people that are on top making the money, the real money. Those are going to be the people that are going to look at it and say, "Why do I need you? Why would I ever
Mhm.
need you? Look at what my computer can do for a fraction of the cost." Because that's the thing. It's not like
Yeah.
this stuff costs more money. It costs substantially less money to keep humans away. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, AI is a weird thing because it's its own thing. It has its own database. It has its own thought process. When you ask it a question, there's not a guy on the other end answering that question. That AI essentially is pulling information and answering it for you. But we
Yeah.
created AI. At the end of the day, we created it, and that's where it gets even scarier. We're kind of the downfall of our own operation. So we fucked around and found out is what it looks like. And again, we ain't the ones that created the AI. We're just the ones consuming it. But the people that created it, I think deep down they knew what they were doing. They knew that, yeah, this is going to take people's jobs. This is going to make everybody's life a lot easier. And in result, let's get rich off of our idea, making everybody else's life easier. But at the end of the day, it's making their life worse. So it gets real, it gets deep. Speaking of the other dilemmas that we were talking about last week, just even with the current state of society and the state of our country, and specifically, the United States of America, and we used to be land of the free and home of the brave, and it seems like we've really lost a step when it comes to that direction. A lot of people are criticized for being brave. A lot of people that stand away from the crowd and want to go their own route and say their own, opinions about things are persecuted. You're supposed to blend in. You're supposed to stay together. You're supposed to just be a sheep in a crowd full of other sheep, and that's what they want us to do. They want us to just follow in the slaughter line, and you're born, you're raised, you go to work, and then you die, and they don't want you to really figure out the deeper meaning behind life often. And of course, the deeper meaning for us is religion. It's Jesus Christ. It's the afterlife. It's going to heaven. It's the belief in something greater than this life that we're gifted with right now. And this is kind of our trial period to prove ourselves worthy of that route. But
Mhm.
it's such a shame to see the corruption and the politics and the people that are in charge. And I think a lot of people are waking up right now about exactly what's going on behind the scenes. And it's a scary thing knowing that, people have student loans, right, around the whole country. But yet we send billions and trillions of dollars to other countries that are in wars that really have nothing to do with us. We're putting our nose where it doesn't belong based on, you got people like Republicans on the far right side, like Ben Shapiro, saying, "Oh, it economically doesn't make sense for us to eliminate student debt, but we should send 25 billion more to Israel after already giving them a fuck ton of money and resources." It's like, how does it economically not make sense when you're sending 25 billion to another country to fund their
Yeah.
war? To fund their war. And not only that, just the overall influence. The overall influence of other countries has infiltrated our country. And say what you want about America, you can say, well, we are the country that was built off of freedom and escaping wherever you're from, right? And we're welcoming to all, as long as you do it the legal way. In most cases, everybody's okay with legal immigrants moving here. But the problem is once people move here and get established here that aren't from here, they still have their set agendas from where they're from, in most cases. The people in power, the people that run all the media sources, the YouTubes, the TikToks, the Instagram, the Twitter, the Google, NBC, CBC, Fox, ABC, those are all ran by Israel. And it's so tough to say because at the end of the day, I've been seeing a lot of people getting censored for speaking against this. What's so tough is that this country was built off of Christianity, right? A lot of people in our country thankfully believe in the good word of Jesus Christ and our Lord and Savior. However, we've now been infiltrated so much to the point where all of our external influence that we get to consume on a day to day basis is being ran through by other people that don't agree with the same word. And where that gets
Yeah.
confusing is if you go on TikTok or Instagram and make a tweet or a post about, speaking out against the wrong influences that are going on in our country and the corrupt power that has taken over, you get censored, you get deleted, you get blocked, you get shadow banned, you get completely silenced. They delete it, they give you a timeout, they tell you you can't post anymore for a certain period of time. They put you in jail essentially, social media jail. And what's sad is you can still go all around the internet and find a lot of tweets or posts that are criticizing Christianity and our own religion. But guess what? Those aren't getting deleted. Those aren't getting censored. Those aren't getting silenced. You can talk about Christians all you want, and you could, go online and say anything you want about Jesus Christ. But as soon as you bring up the Jewish religion, they say, no, you took it too far. You're not allowed to say that. I saw a video the other day of a guy that made a post online, and the police showed up to his door, about 4 cops deep, and he said, "I'm confused. What are you here for?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, we're here about the comments that you made online." The police showed up to this guy's house, like with 4
Damn.
cops deep, and he said, "Do you have a warrant?" They said, "No, no, that's exactly why we're here. We're here to talk." He said, "Well, then do you see the sign? It says no soliciting. Get out. Get off my property. Like, what are you talking about? You came here because I made a post about the Jewish community, and all of a sudden he's anti-Semitic and he's making racist or politically incorrect or religiously or ethnically or whatever you want to call it, incorrect comments." Well, now he's getting in trouble by the law enforcement because of it in our Christian-based country. Since when did it turn into other countries first and other religions before our own? When can we get back to America first and Christianity being,
Facts.
taught and encouraged in our country? You go over to certain countries in Europe that are still thriving based on, traditional values. And now we're a part of Western society that's been so skewed by all the influences. And that's a little rant that I had to go on, but it's kind of a sad time to be a sheep, and that's what we'll never be. I'm sorry, we have too much
Yeah.
free will. God has blessed me with the idea to have my own opinions and to be able to seek out the truth. And the truth is coming out full force. And whether we like it or not, there's people here that are influencing our day to day lives with their own agendas that kind of only consider themselves. And it's sad because they're such a minority, but they have so much control. And I don't know how we got to this point. I mean, it really does. It does make you question history in general and how much of it was a
Yeah.
lie. And they say history books were wrote by the winner. So
Mhm.
there's 3 sides to every story. There's your side, there's my side, and there's the truth.
And on that note, this has been the 404 Fear Not Bound podcast. I'm your boy Wiley. That's my boy Chase, and we gonna see you later.
Appreciate you
Yeah,
boys for
dude.
tapping in. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends if you're watching on TikTok or Instagram. Go watch the full episode. Come on, man. This shit is so much better than the credit you are giving it because all you see is a 15 to 30 to 45-second clip of us going on a random rant about something that we were talking about for 10 minutes. Tap in, lock in. Let's get better. Let's grow. Let's wake up and let's stay blessed. God is so great. Thank you all for joining
So
us
great.
today. Have a great rest of your week. Go kill it. Whatever you do, do well, and may success attend your efforts. So let's
10
go
year
now.
efforts.